Good morning. If you are checking this out after the fact, after it was live, I want to welcome you. If you're on YouTube, thanks for dropping by this channel. Guys, I want to welcome you to today's Enlightenment. And the title of today's broadcast is The Tools of the Trade, Tools of the Trade. So if we just kind of recap this week, the title has been Taking Down Lions, Bears, and Even Giants, story of David, of when he took down Goliath. You know, what was he doing? How did he get there? And today it's the tools of choice, the tools that he needed, for what he was doing. And so yesterday we talked about how, you know, uh, we did talk about how he got some experience out there, prior to dealing with Goliath. He got some experience. He had already been anointed. He was, a shepherd boy. He's out there helping the sheep and helping his dad, and got some experience taking down lions and bears. But what did he use? And so as it's building up in First Samuel chapter 17, I'm going to take your attention over to verse number, was that 40? Verse number 40, it says, "Then he took his shepherd's rod in his hand, ran past the front lines, and then down into the valley. At the brook, he carefully chose 5 smooth stones for his sling and put them in his little bag around his waist. With his sling in one hand and his shepherd's rod in the other, he made his way up the other side to meet the Philistine giant, Goliath." Let's really dissect what David has to do. Like, literally, I was running up the hill in my development this morning, decided, you know what, I'm going to run early in the morning. I'm going to run when I first wake up. Got out of the bed around 5:30. I guess I'd gotten out to start running at about 6:15, and I'm running. And I'm going to tell you, if you run, you probably don't like it. Most people don't like running. And I can't say that I really enjoy it, but I'm going to tell you what I enjoy about running. I enjoy the air, and I enjoy the fact that, maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, I'll look back and I'll say, wow, I was running, and, I'm reaping the fruits of that labor. And so I was running up the hill, and the hill is pretty steep in my development. If you've ever, if you know me and you've been to my house, it's up a pretty steep hill. And so anytime I go down the hill, like anytime you go down the hill, you go faster, right? But then you're thinking, man, I got to come back up. And so I'm coming up this hill, and I'm thinking to myself, all of the challenges that I've been facing, and I start thinking, looking up at the hill. But then I said, wait a second, why would I don't want to look up the mountain. I don't want to look up the hill. I want to actually just kind of watch my feet. I want to pay attention to where I'm at. And so I just kind of paid attention to, 1 foot going, one foot going, 1 foot going, start building up some momentum. And, before you know it, you're over the hill and bam. But let's kind of look at this in David's retrospect. David, he had never fought someone like the giant. He'd never fought anyone like Goliath. Yeah, he took down lions and he took down some bears. But here it is, there's this giant that he has to go and fight. And it looks like it's not a fair fight. Everyone else was afraid. Everyone else was afraid to get out there. You think Saul is the biggest man amongst it, amongst his people, but he wouldn't go out. Because of his fear, everyone else was afraid. You get one boy to show up with I guess the right tools. What tools did he have? I'm gonna tell you the biggest tool that he had is something he said in one of the texts I read earlier this week. I can't remember which one it was, but he said that it was his God, like for This guy to be talking about his God the way that he was talking, he knew that his God was going to take him down. He knew that all he had to do was get out there. All someone had to do was have the courage that God would do it for them. But that's the main tool that he had. Yeah, he had a slingshot. Yeah, he had some rocks. Those were the things that he normally needs to, to deal with his lions and his bears. He would use those. But he took the main tool, and that was his courage. That was his full belief in what he knew was possible. His full belief. He knew that taking down this giant wasn't even harder than taking down a lion or a bear. He knew it. And he says his God is going to take this person down. But look at what he had to do. He had to go down into the valley, down the mountain. He had to go down there, pick up his rocks. Then he had to go up the mountain. So think about it. He had to go up to meet the giant. Had to go up. That's the mountain. That's a lot of times we get stuck. We get stuck when we do something wrong. I briefly read a few pages in a book that's been on my shelf for a little while. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, written by John Maxwell. And he talked about, something that he did, a situation that he was in that was bonehead, that was dumb. And, and really the first 15 pages, he's talking about bad things that he did that was jacked up. How he had traveled and he had gone to do a presentation, and he had flown a private jet. And so I guess the people that I gave his talk for, they gave him a gift, and they gave him this gun. And so, because he was flying private, it was no problem. He was able to put in his briefcase, he took it. And, but by the time he got home, he forgot that this gun was in his briefcase. And here it is. He forgets. He has to go back out on travel maybe the next week. Has to take the briefcase. And he forgets that the gun is inside the briefcase. And he's flying coach. He's going through security, and as it's going through the belt, he realizes that gun is still in there. You can only imagine, the turmoil that he had to experience. I'm not going to go through all of the details, but he went through some turmoils. But you know what? Sometimes we go through some turmoils for bad mistakes, things that we did. I mean, I could just picture things that I've done, wrong in my marriage, in my business, as a father, as a son, as a person. You've done bad things. You've done things that sometimes you can't forgive yourself for. But you have to. And the thing about forgiving yourself is that is the first thing that you must do. You must forgive yourself. And then you must say, wait a second, what lesson can I draw out of this? It's not about a failure. It's not about a loss. The person that says sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Hey, man, they're just taking whatever comes to them. But if you want to draw on power, if you want to draw on the courage that you know that you have, then you got to look at those losses and you got to say, what lesson can I draw from this? And I'm going to tell you, when you learn a lesson, that's going to help you more than when you had the win. So here it is. We don't know what lessons David had leading up to this. We don't know any failures that he faced in his life. All we know is that he had a couple of wins. And here it is. He was anointed, but still he had to get out there, and he had to go and fight this giant with tools that most of all of the people that he was with, all of the soldiers saw. They didn't think that his tools was appropriate, because they gave him, the armor, they gave him the sword, and he realized, man, I can't maneuver in this. David's a cool guy. He like, man, you know what? I'm gonna use what I got. I'm gonna use the tools that I know how to use. Sometimes you have to use what you have. A lot of times we go through life and we're trying to replace things that we already have. Like, wait a second, no, you can't replace the good things that you already possess. A lot of times because you do it so easy, because it's so simple, oh, this is invaluable. It's a book. You can get everything you want out of everything you've got, written by Jay Abraham. And he really dives into what you already have. What you already have may look small. The tools that David had was small: a rock, a slingshot, no other weapon, no armor. How was he going to take down this massive giant? How was he going to do it? Well, yeah, it was the tool, but it was the first tool. It was the courage. It was the belief that he knew that his God was going to get him through this. And we know that's what happened. Tomorrow we're going to wrap the story up with him going up to the giant. And we're going to go into it a little bit deeper. I was reading a book um written by, oh my goodness, what's his name? Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell. And the book is David and Goliath, right? So he talks about the story of David and Goliath. He goes into some more details. Um, and so we're going to talk about why it wasn't a fair fight, why David actually had the upper hand to Goliath. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And that's the thing. Some of the problems that we have. You've got the upper hand on the problem. I've got the upper hand on my problem. And I'm going to tell you, I've got some problems, and these problems, sometimes they jump on you. I was telling my wife yesterday, I was just like, I just felt some kind of way. I felt some kind of way, and it was really bothering me. And I was just like, man, but then you just got to draw on the courage. You got to draw on what you already have, the tools that you already possess. You know, when I woke up this morning, I'm gonna tell you, it sometimes it's hard. It gets hard to do things when you don't always know what the result is. It gets hard to do them, and we always want the results. We want the results, and I realize why we always want the results very quickly. When I was young, there was this appliance that was introduced called the microwave. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the microwave. And the microwave created a stimuli in people that you can have something fast. And, in today's world, with the internet, with all technology, you can very well do things much faster than you could do them in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 40s. Yes, we can do things much faster. But because of the microwave, a lot of people, you, me, many of us, think that we don't have to work as hard, think that we don't have to innovate, think that we don't have to come up with new strategies, think that we don't have to change. And as I spoke to my wife yesterday, I just talked about how when I looked at my life, I said, it's not bad. I'm not doing bad. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm doing bad. But when I looked at my life and the standards that I want for myself, I've not reached the mark. My physical life, I have not reached the mark in how I eat. I don't eat the best way. I eat okay. It's not terrible, you know, but I'm not doing things at the level that I know that I should do them. So what that's saying is that I am underachieving. I'm not achieving. I'm underachieving. But I want to overachieve. How does one overachieve? To overachieve at anything, you become relentless at doing the thing that must be done to get the result. Doing the thing. I want the result of a chiseled body. What thing? I must lift weights. I must do a lot of strength exercises. I want endurance. Hey, I've got to get out there and I've got to run because running gives me endurance. It's going to give you endurance as well. If I want that kind of body, I've got to make sure that I'm putting the right foods in my body. Foods that will allow me to burn fat and not store fat. That's what I have to do if I want that for my physical health and my nutritional health. Even if it's financial. If I want better finances, I've got to set a goal. I got to have a goal that says, I want to save $50,000 this year. To save $50,000, that's just over $4,000 every single month that I must save. I want to save that. Like, look, it's just having a goal. $50,000. That's what I'm going to say. I gotta have a clear goal. Business. I want to grow my business. I want my business to do 7 figures in 2019. That requires me to do, that requires, I think, to do 7 figures, like 100 new clients. That's it. 100 new clients. Really? That's all you need to get to 7 figures? Yeah. I'll be over because I have some other clients. But if I'm just looking at, I want to do 7 figures next year, 100 new clients. That's what I have to set that in place. Okay, how many clients every single month? That's like eight or 9 clients a month. 9 clients a month. 9 clients a month. That's it. 9 clients a month. Like seriously. No, it's not 9. I'm sorry. It's like 16. It's not 9. I'm like, no, it's the price point. Yeah, it's like 16 clients a month. So, but still, that's what I want to do. I want my relationship with my wife to be even better. Then I got to set some goals, going out on dates, going, taking her places, treating her even more special than what she already is. Everything requires a goal. Then the goal requires an action. It requires habits. And this is something that I've always had habits. You've always had habits, right? And the habits are things that we do all the time. And so it's important for you, for me, to create habits around the things that we want. I'll definitely keep you updated in some of the things that I'm doing. But I just wanted to just kind of briefly just jump into that real quick because, guys, we've all got tools. You've got amazing tools. In those tools that you have, you can do something amazing. I don't know what your something is, but you can do something amazing with your life. You can do something amazing in your business. You can do something amazing with your family, your friends. You can do something amazing at your church. You can do something amazing. Look at the tools you already have. Look at them. Look at them and then realize that that's the hidden secret. It's nothing. Now, it's not like some mystical thing that, oh, I got to go find something else. It's right there in you already. But you got to pay attention. David shows us through courage that he did something that everyone thought was impossible. He took down the giant. Tomorrow we'll finish up with tomorrow. The title of tomorrow is One Man with Courage is All It Takes. One man. It doesn't take a whole world. It takes one man. One person can change everything. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the courage that he had. And then we're going to talk about how we all can have that same courage. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me today. If you have not liked or subscribed to my YouTube channel, or you're following me on Facebook, please go ahead and follow me. For messages like this. I also post things about business, about taxes. If you want to reduce your taxes, I post different tax rules. Some of the rules I got out of a book, Tax-Free Wealth, and then some of the rules I've created myself, Healthy Accountant. So definitely check out the rules. They definitely give you some insight into how you should be looking at taxes. Taxes is a wealth building tool. And if you have any questions about taxes, want to know how you can reduce them in your business, especially real estate, then definitely schedule a free strategy call with me. You can do that right on Facebook. If you would send me a message on the J Moore CPA page, we can go and get something on the calendar. If you're on YouTube, then maybe I'll leave a link so that you can go right to my calendar and get scheduled. All right, guys, I appreciate you for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you tomorrow.